This week's quick tip is about not managing tasks, but focusing on outcomes. Projects are filled with activities and milestones and tasks and things that people are working on, but they don't succeed because people are busy. They succeed because the results were achieved, or at least one would hope. And so activity-focused teams deliver outputs. They work on things. They're productive, as opposed to outcome focused teams deliver value and they focus on that value. And it's sort of a shift in mindset, right? So we want to shift the role of a PM from a traffic cop, just moving things around, or a weather reporter that reports on things, to a strategic impact leader. And that means focusing on the impact and not just doing things and checking boxes. And now, when you're doing reporting, executives get visibility into the value instead of just noise. My favorite kinds of status reports are ones that list out bullets like, conducted meeting. And you're like, well, that's interesting, but what was the outcome of that meeting? And so it starts with identifying the outcomes, right? What's the change that we're trying to create? Not just the deliverables, not just the work, right? What are the goals? And you want to clarify that. So when we're done, what does the world look like? What's going to be different? And you want to translate, you don't want vague goals, right? You want to translate them into more measurable outcomes. So instead of just, have a better customer experience or, make people happy, well, what does that mean? And it's important to validate that with the stakeholders, right? Early on, you want to make sure that the team is focused on what we need to work on as defined by the stakeholders. So whether that's your customer, your sponsor, or whatever, they're the ones that define success. And so you want to get alignment with that because the last thing you want to do is get into a year-long project that delivers something that nobody wants or asked for. And so that means you got to include and write it in plain language so that people understand what you're talking about. And then that becomes your North Star. And then everything that you're working on is what people are aligned to is this North Star. And so once you've identified that, then you want to organize all of your work, your structure, your plans, your reporting into OKRs. And there's a lot of information on OKRs, but essentially there's two components to it. There's the objectives. So what is the statement of success? What are we trying to do? And then there's the results. What are those measurable things that tell us that we're going to meet the objective? And you want to map the project activities to those key results. And in fact, in the program that I'm working on now, all of our projects are synonymous with a key result. So one project in the program is a key result. So instead of just the project being, deliver this piece of software, the project is called, by the end of this year, reduce 50% of time spent on XYZ by delivering the thing. And so you see the difference. And now all of your activities, all of your milestones are tied to those key results. And then that helps you prioritize the work because you know, okay, I should only be working on something that's helping me achieve that result. But you want to keep your plans flexible, right? So the good news is the result is static. That's what you want to focus on. But the activities to do that might change. So you want to be flexible to realize that and leveraging the team, right? Okay, so if this is the result, how would you help us get to that result? So now you've identified the North Star, you've organized into OKRs, and so then it's about tracking and reporting all of your work based on those outcomes. So again, not the activities. So instead of we did X, Y, and Z, you want to have, a KPI dashboard, sort of like the one on the right here that says, well, we're 2% on the way to our target of 50%. And there's ways of sort of leading and lagging indicators that tell us, are we on track or did we actually meet those accomplishments? And like I said, your dashboards, your reports, everything like that should be tied to those key results and show trending towards that. So if my goal is by the end of the year reduce something by 50%, am I on pace to get that? And not the day before, but every week and every month get sort of a sense of are you trending towards that? And there's customer centric metrics like net promoter score and so on. But look, if you're working on something or reporting on something that's not tied to the result, then that allows you to say, well, should we be working on this? And by doing all of this, your reports become clear. But then again, everything is focused on the achievement of the result, and you're not just reporting on activities. So, look, the punchline is you want to start with clear and measurable outcomes. Use those OKRs to align the work, prioritize it, track those progress with metrics and reporting, and all of your reporting, all of it is grouped and grounded and in the context of a key result. And like I said, you want to be adaptable. Sometimes those activities change, which is fine if they help you achieve that end goal. And so it really is a shift of mindset, right? So now you're shifting from just driving tasks and checking things off the box to a strategic value leader. You're focused on driving value for your stakeholders. And the punchline is, look, when you manage for outcomes, you deliver on what actually matters to your stakeholders. And hopefully this video provided some value to you, which was my intended result. So, and thanks for watching.